Everybody's excited. They want to see something amazing.
Oh man, that was a rough start. You can tell from the get, these dudes are going to be running mid-10s. Okay, 9.98, 9.97 for Fred. That's cooking. I mean, it's not as fast as they said he was going to run, but you know, anything sub 10, that's got a lot of heat behind it. Yeah, that was underwhelming. He got paid $20K to run 1087. What are we doing? And there's a lot of high schoolers who could have been 20K richer had they entered this as clean athletes. Could have been the richest kid in algebra. So if you didn't catch it, the Enhanced Games just occurred a couple of weeks ago. The whole premise of the Enhanced Games is that athletes are allowed to participate while using performance enhancement drugs, or otherwise known as PEDs. And just to summarize the totality of the Enhanced Games, there were some highs, there were some lows, but compared to the standard that they were trying to sell the world, I don't think it really lived up to what they were hoping would happen. Yes, there was one world record. However, that's not going to be recognized by World Swim as a world record. And funny enough, 3 of the people who won were actually clean athletes. So was this a failure or was it a success? Honestly, I don't care, because I think there was a much bigger takeaway from all this. Elite performance is a multifactorial phenomenon. Being a high performer or high achiever does not come from one thing and one thing alone, and that one thing most certainly is not steroids. As a matter of fact, there was a study done a couple years back that looked at elite athletes, and these researchers studied a whole range of variables that could be the reason why somebody is a high-performing athlete. And what they found is that there wasn't one variable or one profile of variables that allowed the elite athletes to be elite. There isn't one singular pathway to being a high-performing athlete, and that pathway can look very different for each athlete. For us to expect that we can simply take average athletes, pump them full of steroids, and then they're going to become elite athletes, that's total malarkey. It just doesn't work that way. And this is why right now you see most elite sport teams have a holistic human performance department. They can have professionals who are there to enhance their strength and conditioning, to enhance their psychological aspects of sport, nutrition, even spirituality. What can we do to teach athletes that high performance does not come from one thing and one thing alone, and how can we prevent them from falling into these traps that if they make one purchase or start one training program or take one drug, then all their wildest dreams are gonna come true? First off, I think it's important to note, why is it that we fall for these magic bullets? Well, to start, our brain receives a lot of information. And over a long period of time, years and years and years, that's a lot of information for our brain to store. So our brain organizes things and it simplifies things. And it really biases itself towards simple ways to understand and organize the world around us. This results in biases and stereotypes and a whole lot of other funny psychological things that our brain tends to do. One of these funny things is called proportionality bias. Proportionality bias is our mind's tendency to believe that big and wild things probably have a big and wild explanation. An example of this is the pyramids. It's big and wild, it's phenomenal, it's one of the wonders of the world. Big and wild pyramids, big and wild explanation, it was probably the aliens, and that's really easy to believe when you're standing at the foot of the pyramid. You watch somebody run 9.58 in the 100-meter dash, that's big and wild. A big and wild explanation that suits our silly little brains, they were using steroids. Companies know this about our psychology, and they use it to their advantage. They leverage our proportionality bias by telling you, hey, if you buy this one product, you can be your best self. Hey, if you join my program, you can be the fastest person in the world. And wouldn't you know it, looks like somebody has a product to sell. So how do we help ourselves and other athletes not fall for the proportionality bias? A really good framework that we can go off of is called the Biopsychosocial-spiritual Model. This model essentially suggests that the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave can be influenced by a wide range of variables. These variables can all be housed in the biology, the psychology, the social, and the spiritual. And within each of those 4 domains, There are a wide range of variables that can influence the way we think, feel, and behave, and most certainly the way an athlete performs. This can include genetics, physical health, injuries, physiology, brain chemistry, nervous system, hormonal balances, immune function, medications, thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, emotions, emotional patterns, mental health diagnoses, coping mechanisms, stress management, resilience, cognitive abilities, socioeconomic status, income, access to resources, relationships, family circumstances, community support, relationship with coaches, relationship with teammates, employment status, living conditions, cultural background, societal norms, environment, sleep, and I'm sure the list could go on and on and on. But in reality, these are the things that make up high performance. And I know that's very, very overwhelming for an athlete to see all these things and think, whoa, I gotta master all those things to be a high performing athlete. Well, no, there might be one thing in this greater list that if you focused on, you would really see the needle move. However, high performance is so nuanced and honestly so complicated. And I promise you, if you talk with any elite performing athlete and ask them what allows you to be successful, they're not gonna have one answer for you. So what's really nice about the Biopsychosocial-spiritual model is that when you are mindful of this, it can help re-widen your aperture if you are accidentally focusing too much on one single variable. This model can ground you. It can remind you of the wide range of factors that truly influence your performance. So I encourage you to remember that elite performance is a multifactorial phenomenon. Please do not fall for the magic bullets, and do yourself a favor, give yourself the best chance of being an elite athlete by training yourself as if you're a holistic athlete. If you take that inward look at the biopsychosocial spiritual model and you do say, hey, the psychological aspects of performance, I could probably use a little bit of work there. I will include in the description below a link to a free 15-minute phone call that I'm more than happy to have with anybody. And I will also include a link to my website. Thank you. Rock on.